All right, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be reviewing Maahir Black Edition by Lattafa. So for those of you who don't know, this is a clone of Terroni by Orto Parisi. It's a very famous niche fragrance. It goes for around $200 for just a little 50 ml bottle. Very earthy, smoky, woody fragrance. Yeah, we're gonna be checking it out, seeing if it's any good. So I picked this bad boy up for around $23 on Amazon, okay? So I'll make sure to throw a link in the description for this one and for the original, of course. So when you do get the box, it's gonna come like this. It's in a huge container. I always love the presentations from Lattafa. They always do it up with the presentations. So they spared no expense on this. It's a nice matte black finish. And then it says Maahir Black Edition Lattafa. So this is an eau de parfum. So then when you open it up, you're gonna slide the middle box out like that. I already unboxed it because I've been wearing this for a little while, okay? It's gonna have a little doorway that you take off, and it's gonna be tied up with a nice little bow like that. So really nice presentation. So yeah, so here's the bottle. It is a very strange bottle, but the presentation is very high quality. This is a nice heavy black glass. It says Black Edition, Maahir Lattafa, and then it has the prancing horse head on top. So the horse head itself is extremely heavy metal. This looks like a chess piece, but yeah, it's all metal. It's solid metal. Solid metal presentation with the collar and the atomizer here as well. So very, very nice presentation. I gotta say, it's probably an 8.5. It's a little strange looking. It is a little bit top heavy though, I will say. It makes me nervous whenever I have it out on my counter, I will say, okay? But that's okay. So yeah, so you know, we'll check out the juice that's inside. I've been wearing this one for about a week just so I could kind of test it out for you guys against the original, of course, that I purchased a little 1 milliliter decant. I got this decant off of Scent Split. I know we were kind of talking on the votes that I had you guys do, voting which one is your favorite decant fragrance website. So you guys said Scent Split was pretty decent. So I picked up a little 1 mil for about 10 bucks on there. So that way we can kind of compare it. Great atomizer right there, and it is very strong projection. I can smell it from here. And instantly I get those same notes of Terroni by Orto Parisi, okay? So originally, Orto Parisi, what they do, they don't release official notes, but Maahir Black Edition has released their notes of the fragrance, and I believe them to be pretty spot on, okay? So the notes of this fragrance are top notes of black pepper, pink pepper, and saffron, middle notes of labdanum, cade oil, and gurgeon balsam, and rhubarb, and then base notes of leather, cedar, patchouli, geoc wood, musk, and moss, so presumably oak moss, okay? So to me, it has a very obvious pimento note, and that's not really listed in the fragrance notes there, but it is really on the forefront, and it's about as obvious as in Midnight Oud by Ardal Zafran, which is kind of that Interlude Man clone. Funny enough, Interlude Man also doesn't note that there's any pimento in there, but Midnight Oud does, and it's an exact clone of it. So yeah, there's definitely a pimento note in there, which I personally do not like. It's kind of that spiciness that it just doesn't vibe very well with me. So if you're familiar with Terroni, and you know you like Terroni, or you know you like pimento like Interlude Man, then I would say probably go for it. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of fragrance notes in there that you won't like, okay? So it's very nice, woody, spicy. It has enough freshness that it keeps it uplifting, but it also has that deep depth of smokiness and darkness. This is truly a niche fragrance. This is a love it or hate it type of fragrance. So my advice to you is I would probably buy one of these little 1 mil decants on like Decant X, or I did Scent Split, just one of those fragrance websites. Get a little 1 mil of it, because again, these are so extremely similar. They're essentially the exact same fragrance. This has a little bit more of the smokiness and a little bit less of that kind of uplifting pimento and oregano in it. So a little less top heavy, but they're like at least 92% similar. So very, very similar, slightly top heavy, slightly base heavy on it, but it's like they're the same fragrance essentially. So this would be like the EDT version or like the bright version, and this would be like the intense version, but it's essentially it's the same fragrance. So for 20 bucks, $23, it's a no-brainer versus the 200. They're so similar you wouldn't even know unless you had them right next to each other. But I will say, so watch out for that pimento though, guys. So try it before you buy it. Don't just waste your money on, especially not on buying the OG. This is not blind buy safe, okay? So, you know, if you're looking to get this for yourself or you're looking to get this for somebody else, just really make sure that you like that pimento note, because to me at least, that brought this fragrance from what would be without the pimento. I would say this is probably a 9.5 fragrance. But to me, since I really just don't appreciate that pimento note and it just doesn't hit my nose very well and kind of gives me sort of an awkward nose feel, a little bit of that spiciness gives me an awkward nose feel and I don't like it, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. Other than that, presentation is very good. This is an 8.5 presentation. It's very high quality. I always appreciate the quality that Lattafa puts into their, you know, their actual presentations. So this is definitely a fall, winter, or a spring fragrance. You could not pull this off in the heat of summer. This is probably more of a going out nighttime sort of a fragrance. It's not for first dates because again, it is niche. And so it might be a sort of love it or hate it. It is not very mass appealing if you're trying to, you know, kind of please the masses and play your chances there. But if you're into niche fragrances and you're going for those kind of mysterious vibes, little Phantom of the Opera vibes there, right? Then I would definitely go for Maahir Black Edition. Especially for the price point. If you're looking for a niche fragrance and you're like, dude, I just want some niche fragrances and I want them for cheap, this is definitely a go-to, but just make sure you like it beforehand. Make sure you're gonna be interested, because like any other niche, you gotta be careful, you know, there's a lot of polarizing ingredients in there. Performance, throughout the week that I wore it, it was amazing, okay? So it's relatively linear, I will say, it's relatively linear until it hits that dry down and then it just becomes that smoky woods. But in the meantime, it lasts extremely long. We're talking like 8 hours and it is still, you know, decently strong. So this is like a 2-spray fragrance. So this is, you don't need a whole lot. A little goes a long way. So this 100 ml is gonna last me forever, okay? So yeah, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you know the Orto Parisi fragrances, or if you have any other Lattafa ones that you think I just gotta try. Make sure to subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one.